Within the vast spatial world, desolation reigned supreme, interrupted only by hundreds of towering black stone steels, each thousands of feet tall, standing firmly on the ground. Carved meticulously into each steel were around 100 characters, their precision telling the tale of a catastrophic war that had occurred tens of thousands of years ago. Not far from the steels, atop a massive boulder clearly scarred by battle, sat two figures, Xiao and Long Yuan. Between them lay a parchment roughly a meter in size. Xiao, uncharacteristically, was engrossed in a task he had never undertaken before, transcribing the records from the steels. Having grown through countless battles, he had never imagined that one day he would hold a pen for the sake of unraveling the millennia-old mysteries of Do Qi. It reminded him of his time outside the inheritance space of the ancient, heavenly serpent's ancestor, where he did nothing but analyze and ponder. The transcription took an entire day. Through the nearly 14,000 characters recorded, Xiao uncovered significant information about the Emperor Alliance and the ancient Do Qi continent. The records detailed the fall of 68 ancient clans, 54 ancient sects, 227 Do Di powerhouses, and 249 supreme experts from the Great Thousand Worlds during that monumental conflict. The Emperor Alliance was led by three chiefs: the Dragon Emperor, ancestor of the primordial ancient Dragon Clan and a mid-stage Earth Supreme; the Xiao Emperor, ancestor of the Xiao Clan and an early-stage Earth Supreme; and the Pill Emperor, ancestor of the Pill Clan and also an early-stage Earth Supreme. Interestingly, the recorded Pill Emperor differed from the fragmented soul of the Pill Emperor Xiao had encountered on the Do Qi continent when the Soul Clan destroyed the Pill Clan. Xiao speculated the existence of two separate Pill clans. The Soul Clan was also listed in the records. During ancient times, their most powerful member was merely a peak 2-star Do Di, far from standing out among the 100 tribes. Xiao couldn't help but lament the contrast between the clan's founder, who sacrificed his life to protect the Do Qi continent, and his descendant, the Soul Heavenly Emperor, who blood sacrificed the clan's powerhouses to dominate the continent. If that ancestor were aware, Xiao thought, he would likely have slapped the Soul Heavenly Emperor to death. As Xiao and Long Yuan continued transcribing the steel's inscriptions, they remained unaware of a figure standing atop one of the steels several thousand feet away. The figure appeared to be a boy of about 12 or 13, dressed in white, his skin pale and his face bearing a faint smile. Hands behind his back, he observed the two on the boulder before vanishing. Hundreds of clans flourishing. This was the pastoral age of the Do Qi continent, Xiao remarked wistfully after finishing the transcription. Who could have recorded all of this? He wondered aloud. The ancient Emperor Alliance battle should have left no survivors capable of inscribing these steels. If remnant souls of fallen powerhouses were responsible, it seemed improbable given the uniformity of the steel's size, shape, and inscriptions. Such precision pointed to a single hand, but for one remnant soul to achieve this was unthinkable. There was only one conclusion. Apart from himself and Long Yuan, someone else existed in this spatial world. Suddenly, Xiao noticed Long Yuan still writing something different from the ancient records. "Senior, what's this?" he asked. Long Yuan paused, looking at the inscription in front of him. "This was recorded on an outlying stele behind the others," he replied, revealing several lines. "A Doja is the strongest of the Do Qi continent, one who commands 22 flames, wields 18 thunders, battles the myriad realms, and shapes the Do Qi core." "What does it mean, Doja?" Xiao mused aloud. He was, of course, familiar with the term. At the age of 11, becoming a Doja had earned him the title of the Xiao clan's greatest prodigy in a century, though it was followed by a period of decline. The 22 flames naturally refer to the 22 heavenly flames on the heavenly flame ranking. As for the 18 thunders, Xiao recalled the 9 profound golden thunder. In terms of power, the 9 profound golden thunder could rival the pure lotus demon flame. Perhaps, just as the heavenly flames have a ranking on the continent of Do Qi, the celestial thunders might also have a ranking similar to the Great Thousand Heavenly Thunder Codex in the Great Thousand Worlds. If such a thunder ranking exists, the 9 profound golden thunder would likely rank among the top 3. The term, Battle of 10,000 Realms. might refer to ancient times when the continent of Do-Chi engaged in wars with neighboring lower-dimensional worlds. However, Xiao was perplexed by the mention of controlling the Do-Chi core, a concept he struggled to understand. What puzzled Xiao even more was how a beginner-level realm like Doja could be connected to heavenly flames, celestial thunders, and countless lower-dimensional worlds. I've heard about Doja from my father before. It seems to be a very unique existence, Long Yuan said. When my father mentioned Doja, he once stated that he himself was not considered a Doja. Hearing this, Xiao was stunned. Long Yuan's father was none other than the great leader of the Emperor Alliance, a being far beyond the realm of Do-Di. In comparison, Doja was merely the entry-level stage of Do-Chi cultivation. The disparity seemed absurd. Could it be that the title of Doja did not refer to a realm within the Do-Chi system? So, what exactly was a Doja? The ancestor of the heavenly serpent once mentioned to me that the reason the Dragon Emperor could become the master of the continent of Do-Chi in ancient times wasn't because he had the strongest power, but because he controlled the core of the continent of Do-Chi, Xiao said after some thought. Although it was the first time he had heard of such a core existing on the continent of Do-Chi, he suspected it was something even more difficult to master than the 22 heavenly flames or the 18 celestial thunders. That is the dimension embryo, Long Yuan said. The dimension embryo? Does such a thing truly exist on the continent of Do-Chi? I've never sensed its presence, Xiao questioned doubtfully. Every lower dimension has a core. This core is born with the dimension and disappears when the dimension ceases to exist. That core is the dimension embryo. Whoever controls the dimension embryo controls the dimension. Even someone without any power could easily kill a Do-Di powerhouse with it. That's what my father told me, Long Yuan explained. Hearing this, Xiao was once again deeply shaken. He had never imagined such a terrifying entity could exist within dimensional worlds. If he could control the dimension embryo of the continent of Do-Chi, he wouldn't have had to endure decades of bloody battles to defeat the Emperor of the Soul. However, Xiao smiled wryly and shook his head. If he could become a godlike being instantly, he would still choose to climb to the peak step by step. That journey would be far more exhilarating. After the Dragon Emperor's demise, where did the dimension embryo he controlled end up? Xiao wondered aloud, his brows furrowing as a terrifying possibility came to mind. What if it had fallen into the hands of the extraterrestrial evil clan? But he quickly dismissed the thought. If the extraterrestrial evil clan had obtained the dimension embryo, the continent of Do-Chi would have long been conquered. Could it be that the thing left behind by the Dragon Emperor was indeed the dimension embryo? And how was the dimension embryo connected to Doja? I don't know if the item my father left behind is the dimension embryo, as I've never seen it and wouldn't know where to begin searching, Long Yuan said. But let's look for it anyway. With that, Long Yuan stood up and cast his gaze over the spatial realm. A vast, ocean-like divine soul power spread out, covering every corner of the space. Behind him, Xiao sensed the overwhelming might of this divine soul power and was secretly astonished. As expected of a heavenly supreme powerhouse, even his divine soul was countless times stronger than Xiao. Let's search among these stone monuments. Perhaps the dimension embryo has been sealed and hidden, making it undetectable, Long Yuan suggested after probing with his divine soul. Apart from the immense suppressed aura of extraterrestrial evil demons beneath the earth, he found nothing else. All right, Xiao nodded. Rising to his feet, following Long Yuan, he flew toward the array of stone monuments. He moved swiftly, keeping close behind Long Yuan. On the vast expanse of land stood hundreds of towering stone monuments, each several thousand feet tall, forming a massive stone forest. Xiao gaze swept continuously over the massive black stone steels. On the front of each stele was a large carved character, while the back was covered in ancient runes. Clearly, it was the power of these runes that suppressed the remnants of the extraterritorial evil demons. As Xiao moved behind all the steles, he saw the most peculiar steel dragon origin had mentioned earlier. A line of text on it stood out clearly, leaving Xiao even more puzzled. A Doja is the strongest being of the continent of Do-Chi, condensing 22 flames, commanding 18 thunders, battling across myriad realms and forming the Doqi core. What exactly is a doja? Xiao Yin murmured to himself. The search lasted for half a day, but neither Xiao Yin nor Dragon Origin found anything of note. This spatial world, lacking a day-night cycle, had evidently been hastily created, as one felt no passage of time apart from a vague sense of unease. When Xiao Yin and Dragon Origin eventually reconvened, neither had made any significant discoveries. There's no rush to search for what my father left behind. Let's first deliver the records about the Emperor Alliance to the outside world, Dragon Origin said from atop a stele. This place suppresses many extraterritorial evil demons, but to eradicate them, we'll need to find the right tools first. Xiao Yin nodded in agreement, but then recalled the ancient, heavenly serpent ancestors' words about the shrinking of the continent of Doqi. Senior, there are some things about the current state of the continent of Doqi that I need to discuss with you. Of course. I've been searching for the continent of Doqi for 10,000 years, Dragon Origin replied. By the way, where is that parchment we just recorded? Hearing this, Xiao Yin suddenly remembered. Ah, I left it on that giant rock. Let me grab it. Whoosh, whoosh. In the sky, Xiao Yin and Dragon Origin sped past countless steles. Before long, they reached the massive rock where the parchment still lay flat and visible. Xiao Yin and Dragon Origin descended onto the rock, but as their gazes landed on the parchment, both of their pupils abruptly shrank. Alert, their eyes scanned the surrounding spatial world. On the parchment, roughly a foot in size, was an image of a fetus. The ink was not yet completely dry. This spatial world wasn't as empty as they had thought. There was someone else here. Xiao Yin and Dragon Origin swept their gazes across the space again, but found no trace of another presence. Dragon Origin even extended his divine soul across every corner of the realm, yet still, there was no sign of anyone. Senior, could this fetus in the drawing be the dimension embryo? Xiao Yin asked Dragon Origin. I've seen dimension embryos from some lower dimensions. They come in various forms, with the most advanced being humanoid, Dragon Origin replied. Looking again at the infant drawn on the parchment, he continued, although I've never seen the dimension embryo of the continent of Doqi, I suspect it's also humanoid, and likely resembles this drawing. Could the dimension embryo have drawn this itself? Xiao Yin frowned. Unlikely. I've never heard of a dimension embryo possessing such intelligence. Even if it had consciousness, it would only be used to maintain the order of its dimension. The Great Thousand Alliance has conducted the most research into dimension embryos, but they've got a peculiar old man there who's the true expert, Dragon Origin said. The Great Thousand Alliance? Xiao Yin echoed, his brow furrowing again. The name seemed vaguely familiar. It's an alliance of those who've broken the shackles of lower dimensions, far stronger than any dominant force on this relic continent, Dragon Origin explained. Hearing this, Xiao Yin recalled the Western Heaven Palace, a similar alliance of lower dimensions. By his calculations, the palace likely had at least 3 heavenly supreme powerhouses in residence. If this is truly the work of the dimension embryo, we're in trouble, Xiao Yin said, his expression hardening. He flicked his right hand, and a ring slipped silently from his finger and fell onto the parchment. Senior, I have a question, Xiao Yin suddenly said to Dragon Origin. What is it? Dragon Origin asked. Given your current strength, how fast can you move? Xiao Yan's sudden question left Long Yuan momentarily stunned. Then, under Xiao Yan's gaze, Long Yuan slowly placed his hand on Xiao Yan's shoulder. Before Xiao Yan could react, he realized they were now in a location extremely far from the cluster of stone monuments. From this vantage point, the stone monument cluster in the spatial world appeared as mere protrusions on the horizon. Clearly, the distance between here and the stone monument spanned at least hundreds of thousands of miles. Covering such a vast distance in an instant, even without relying on spatial transference, was this the speed of a heavenly supreme expert? Why are you asking about this? Long Yuan asked in return. Earlier, when we left, that piece of sheepskin paper hadn't been retrieved yet, right? Xiao Yin said, his gaze directed forward. They were already at the edge of this spatial world. Beyond this point, They would either be rebounded due to touching the spatial boundary or transported outside the spatial world by their own strength. And then? Let's head out for now. There's no rush to handle the matters here, Xiao said. The sheepskin paper. Long Yuan, somewhat puzzled by this, began to respond. However, before he could finish, he saw Xiao flying swiftly toward the boundary of the spatial world. Whoosh! Although unsure of Xiao intentions, Long Yuan assumed Xiao had his reasons, so he quickly followed. Buzz! When Xiao and Long Yuan reached the spatial boundary, a rebounding force surged forth. However, under Long Yuan's power, this force was forcibly redirected, sending the two out of the spatial world. Void, act now! As they were about to return to the ancient dragon continent, Xiao suddenly grabbed Long Yuan and shouted sharply. This caused Long Yuan's expression to shift slightly, but he didn't stop Xiao. What are you trying to do? Long Yuan asked in a low voice. Before his words had fully left his mouth, he saw black flames erupting from Xiao body, enveloping them. It was the void-swallowing flame. Due to the void-swallowing flame, Xiao and Long Yuan were not transported to the ancient dragon continent. They had also exited the tomb-like spatial world of the Do-Di. Currently, they were in an intermediary spatial zone not belonging to either the ancient dragon continent or the spatial world, a membrane space. A membrane space is a type of space that exists outside any spatial world, acting as a thin layer covering the exterior of spatial worlds, separating them from the outside. The thickness of this membrane space is incredibly small, barely spanning 100 zhang. Compared to the vastness of a spatial world, the size of a membrane space is almost negligible. Xiao had first noticed membrane spaces on the continent of Doqi when the Soul Clan destroyed the Pill Clan. Back then, the void-swallowing flame had enveloped and consumed the entire Pill Clan space. However, neither before entering the Pill Clan space nor during his participation in the clan's Pill Festival within it had Xiao detected the presence of the void-swallowing flame. Even the clan leader of the Pill Clan had failed to notice it. This indicated that the void-swallowing flame was neither inside the Pill Clan space nor in the central plains outside it. Otherwise, such a significant event would have been noticed by others. Thus, the void-swallowing flame could only have been in a special type of space, a membrane space clinging to the outer surface of the Pill Clan space. Within the membrane space, the void-swallowing flame had expanded to a size of dozens of zhang, enveloping Xiao and Long Yuan. The two faced each other, with Long Yuan primarily looking at Xiao in confusion, evidently unsure of Xiao intentions. I'm only trying to avoid the surveillance of the dimensional embryo, Xiao explained, addressing Long Yuan's puzzled expression. Avoid the surveillance of the dimensional embryo? Long Yuan echoed in surprise. What's going on? I suspect the pattern that appeared on that piece of sheepskin paper earlier was drawn by the dimensional embryo, Xiao said. You mean? Long Yuan began. If the Dragon Emperor sealed the dimensional embryo in this spatial world 10,000 years ago, it's highly likely the dimensional embryo has already developed self-awareness, Xiao replied. After a moment's thought, he corrected himself, saying, or rather, it might have attained intelligence comparable to that of humans. I've inquired extensively about the dimensional embryo and indeed heard that it can develop self-awareness. However, I've never heard of a dimensional embryo possessing intelligence on par with humans. All things possess a spirit. I didn't believe that flames on the continent of Doqi could possess such a level of intelligence before, but I encountered it nonetheless. Xiao recalled the shock he felt when he saw the pure lotus demon flame manifesting fire spirits. Regarding intelligence, there are at least 4 levels of classification. The lowest level is the intelligence of long-growing flora and forests. Above that are creatures like insects, birds, and beasts that can quickly sense threats. The fallen heart flame he encountered at Xun'er Academy and the 9 profound golden thunder he met later both exhibited this level of intelligence. A higher level of intelligence is comparable to that of humans, like the pure lotus demon flame in the demon flame realm or the void-swallowing flame that annihilated the Pill Clan. Above human-level intelligence, there is likely an even higher level of intelligence, where human intellect appears no different from that of insects in their eyes. The gulf between each level of intelligence is vast and insurmountable. If the dimension embryo possesses such a level of intelligence, it will be incredibly difficult for us to locate it, Xiao continued. Then why did we leave that spatial world? Long Yuan asked. Senior previously used your divine soul to probe the entire spatial world, correct? Xiao asked. Yes. And there were no results? Xiao asked again. Indeed. That's why I don't believe the dimension embryo could possess such intelligence. If it did, I would have sensed its activity immediately, Long Yuan replied. No, you already sensed it, but you thought you didn't, Xiao said with a smile. It's highly possible that the entire spatial world is its body, and that space was created by the Dragon Emperor using the dimension embryo's power before his fall. Hearing Xiao words, Long Yuan appeared somewhat startled. If that were true, then the spatial world could truly be the body of the dimension embryo. Every move we made within it would have been known to the dimension embryo, which is why we had to leave that spatial world, Xiao explained. I've never heard of a dimension embryo with such intelligence. Now you've seen one, Xiao replied with a smile. Since the dimension embryo is something left behind by my father, why is it deliberately avoiding us? Long Yuan asked. That, we'll only know after capturing it, Xiao admitted, puzzled by the dimension embryo's actions. How do we capture it? Long Yuan inquired. We'll need to rely on Senior's power, Xiao replied, summoning a void-swallowing flame that transformed into a black-robed elder. My own power isn't enough to make the void-swallowing flame engulf the entire spatial world, so I need Senior's assistance. You mean to? Long Yuan was shocked by Xiao suggestion. Xiao intended to have the void-swallowing flame devour the entire spatial world. Void? Is it difficult? Xiao asked the void-swallowing flame. This space is at least 1,000 times larger than the Pill Clan's spatial world and almost rivals the size of the continent of Doqi. Devouring it would consume an unimaginable amount of power, the void-swallowing flame replied. You can use my power, Long Yuan offered. But what happens after it's devoured? We carve away the world and hope the dimension embryo doesn't notice. Xiao eyes glinted coldly as he elaborated on his sudden idea. When the world is reduced to a size of tens of thousands of miles, Senior must swiftly move to the giant rock where we previously placed the parchment. How can you be sure the dimension embryo will go there? Long Yuan asked. I left something there earlier. If luck is on our side, the dimension embryo might attempt to interact with it, Xiao replied, narrowing his eyes. He had used his storage ring as bait, placing its reserves in the hopes of enticing the dimension embryo. What next? Let's start by shrinking the spatial world, Xiao said, looking again at the void-swallowing flame. How confident are you in doing this without the dimension embryo noticing? Less than 50%. However, since I'm a flame with spatial properties, if I corrode it slowly, it might not notice at first. If its focus is entirely on the item you left behind, I might be able to shrink the world by half without it detecting anything. Half, is it? That will suffice, Xiao said, turning his gaze to Long Yuan. Following this, the void-swallowing flame detached itself from Xiao body and, with Long Yuan's tacit approval, entered his body. Under Long Yuan's control, the flame was quickly subdued. While the void-swallowing flame was immensely powerful on the continent of Doqi, in the Great Thousand Worlds, aside from a few unique abilities, it could not rank very high. With his strength as a heavenly supreme, Long Yuan effortlessly took control of the flame without the need to refine it. After handing the void-swallowing flame over to Long Yuan, Xiao shifted his attention to a space just over 10 meters away. Before leaving that space, he had placed a divine soul seal on his storage ring. As expected, the seal was now beginning to dissipate, indicating that someone was attempting to erase it. This divine soul seal was something Xiao had specifically crafted. Without the overwhelming power of someone like Long Yuan, a heavenly supreme, it would be almost impossible to remove. Based on the current rate of the seal's dissipation, Xiao estimated that the process would take roughly 2 hours. That was the time they had to capture the dimension embryo. Senior, let's begin, Xiao said, glancing at Long Yuan. who had already gained mastery over the void-swallowing flame with its cooperation. "What a fascinating flame," Long Yuan remarked, clearly impressed by the flame's unique properties. Narrowing his eyes slightly, an overwhelming surge of black fire erupted from within him, a manifestation of the void-swallowing flame. Whoosh! Although it took less than a minute, Long Yuan's mastery over the void-swallowing flame surprised Xiao Yin. The seamless flow and precision with which the flame moved, like waves crashing against the shores, spread across the spatial membrane, engulfing the spatial world ahead. The scene resembled a volcanic eruption, with molten lava flowing down and gradually enveloping the entire mountain.